if you have not seen all of Black Mirror, do not listen to this podcast.
Okay, so Black Mirror.
So
The show that begins with the Prime Minister having to do things with pig.
The first episode of Black Mirror is a really great place to start talking about it because I feel like it's one of the most
divisive.
No, I don't want to say infamous, but I want to say it's one of the episodes that are discussed about a lot. And I think it's really
good episode.
I think because it is the first episode, it gets a lot more flack than it should.
Yeah, it wasn't the first episode I watched. I watched really out of order, but people I have told to watch the show or made watch the show. Okay, for example, my sister, she watched the first episode, and now whenever I talk about it, she's like, "That show's gross." And it's
this is exactly what I've been reading on Reddit. Is people who saw the first episode first just think it's gross and disgusting.
I was literally listening to a podcast this morning, which is completely irrelevant to Black Mirror, but for some reason they were talking about it at the end.
Yeah.
And one of the guys was like, "Yeah, so I watched the first episode," referring to that episode, and he's like, "And I have no desire to go back, and I definitely won't now with these results." But whatever. Because it's a depressing TV show.
And I think a way to look at it, right, is if people have that much of an issue with it, if they watch the first episode and even though everybody who enjoys it says that it's amazing and it's a great show and all of the good media about it, if they watch the first episode and they really just can't stand to go back, I think it's almost kind of a barrier, like a rite of passage. Yeah. If they really can't go back, they're not going to be able to appreciate the rest of the show if they're that turned off by it.
But I also think that you can't start with the second episode because it's too different.
Yes. But the thing is, each episode is different in a way.
But that one's so different because it's in an entirely different future world.
But it's also, we don't know that.
But I think the third episode, the entire history of you, or not? Yeah, that's a pretty good episode to.
I still think you should start on the first episode.
Yeah, but I'm saying
I think you should watch them in sequential order.
I think.
Yeah. My watch order was really weird. I started with a Be Right Back.
My problem with the entire history of you is everyone's just really mean.
Yeah.
All the time. 100% of the time, everybody's really mean. And I hate it.
Well,
I like the idea of the episode, but everyone's way too mean.
It's kind of part of it, though, because
starting, he enters the freaking apartment, and just people are already just being so freaking passive aggressive, just right when he enters.
And even during his little interview at the very, very start.
Yeah, it's just ugh.
It's just that because everybody is so, oh my gosh, narcissistic. That's the word I'm looking for. Because now that they've been given this thing where they can just look at everything they've done over and over again and agonize over it.
Well, not only look at what they've done, but look at what everyone else has done. Everyone's had those little things where they're like, "Well, I'm glad they're not going to remember that."
And now everything will
accidentally
be
say
forever.
Something wrong.
Yeah.
And not only is it everyone will remember every little thing you do, but not only can they remember it, but they can also go show in detail what happened to exactly.
So, yeah, and then season 2? Season 2, Be Right Back, which is now becoming a real thing. There was an article somewhere. It was either on The Verge or Motherboard that talked about how someone was inspired by Be Right Back and built a chat app.
Yeah, which I mean,
the first episode also kind of came true.
The first episode also did kind of come true. I'm shocked.
And the Waldo moment also kind of came true.
No, we're not talking about that. Not talking about
that. But yeah. Kind of want to go back and watch the Waldo moment because that is by far my least favorite episode. But I watched this all before,
but I haven't seen it in so long.
Okay,
crazy election stuff happened. And...
Yeah.
When you watch Black Mirror twice, you appreciate everything a lot more.
Yeah.
After watching it for the first time, watching the series for the first time, wasn't a huge fan of Waldo, obviously. Wasn't a huge fan of National Anthem, obviously. Watching them again...
I think National Anthem is a beautiful piece of television.
National Anthem is a lot better than the community gives it credit for.
Yeah.
National Anthem's a very
I watched it as my 4th episode, and it was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So I had a friend who watched it for the first time when I watched it my second time. And when we all watched it the first time... Okay, let me make this fair.
So let's look at the timeline of when we watched this too.
All right, let me
watched it
let me go first.
Okay.
So after season 1 and 2 were out, me and a group of 5 friends watched those first 5, no, not 5, 6, 7.
6
7
plus special.
6 plus special episodes. And then later, the week before season 3 came out, we rewatched them with a friend who hadn't seen any of them. And then when season 3 came out, that weekend we watched every single episode on that day. So when we watched the series for the second time with a new friend, he actually thought that episode 1, the National Anthem, was a really good episode, which is interesting because none of us really enjoyed it the first time around.
Right. So I started watching. I watched it probably like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Mango, when did you recommend Hello Internet to me?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was after Hello Internet recommended it. Like, because I remember, because when I watched 15 Million Merits, I recalled, I'm like, wait, I did hear about this. Yeah, I remember that. Because at that point in time, I was someone who listened through the spoilers.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. I still have Ex Machina waiting in my podcast player.
I don't remember if I had listened through the spoilers, but I do know that Hello Internet was my first exposure to it.
Yeah, that was my first exposure also, but I didn't watch it until probably like 2-3 months later at least.
Mm-hmm. We watched it.
I listened to it, and I paused the podcast, listened to it, or watched it.
Pause the podcast. You can pause like the episode and keep going on. They're not going to keep referring to it. That's not how it works.
Well, I was binge listening, I guess, to all the episodes. Like, it was later than it was during the school year, this most recent one. So
I got probably into Hello Internet really early. Like, I got in, there was like 2-3 episodes in existence. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but so I just stopped the episode and then watched them all. The first one I watched on like YouTube because I didn't realize they were on Netflix. And
I think I started watching them because I remember hearing about them on Hello Internet, and then I just happened to be browsing Netflix, and I'm like, I need something to watch. And I saw it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I had to watch the special on YouTube though. That was fun.
Yeah, the special, to watch it on YouTube, I synced up one that was English, but was like awful video quality, like even for my taste, which is usually like I'm not terribly picky. And then one that was in Russian. So like I had to sync them up, but then between episode, or like not between episodes, but like there's very obvious like between stories, I guess, of White Christmas, like there's break points. And one episode or one of the videos had like a 10-second pause between the stories.
Presumably because that's where the commercials go.
So I had to resync them constantly.
Fun. So then, sometime last year, season 3 was announced for Netflix. Netflix original. 12 episodes. 6 of them to be released this year. 6 of them to probably be released next year.
I believe the creator said January 1st.
No. 1 star. So season 3, it came out like last month. I binge watched it over the weekend when I should have been doing other things.
I watched all but the last episode in like a sitting.
Yep,
I watched it over like 3 days.
We watched all 6 in one go.
Yeah,
So,
like
really
I
great,
started the last episode and then I just didn't have any interest in finishing it. Then I'm like, one day, like about a week or two out, I'm like, oh, I should probably finish that.
I watched the last episode in like 1.5 sittings because I watched like most of it during lunch. I was eating lunch, and then I like did a little bit of studying, and then I went and watched the rest.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 1.5 sittings. Okay, we should probably go through these one by one.
All right,
Talk about them. So let's start. So actually, before we even get into the context of the episodes, so you know how they show the episode title, beginning the episodes.
Yes.
The first 2 episodes of the season, Nosedive and Playtest, show it in like a fancy font. Like Nosedive shows it like on a street, and like Playtest shows it in like pixel font thing.
Mm-hmm.
All the rest show it in the exact same way seasons 1 and 2 did, with just the sans serif white text and black backgrounds.
Yeah.
I don't understand. If you're gonna go for fancy text, go all in on fancy text.
I mean, maybe they
ran out of time and forgot, but
I mean, I imagine how the title of the episode is going to be displayed is usually one of the last things they considered.
Hey man,
and maybe
graphic
just
designers
for those
care.
2 episodes.
For those 2 episodes, they got around to it, and all the others they didn't.
Yeah. Let's go through each episode of season 1 and 2 and give like a brief
thoughts.
Rapid shot 1 and 2 and
Okay.
White Christmas.
Season 1, National Anthem.
Beautiful piece of television. I get why it's divisive, but I think it's good.
I mean, okay. Obviously, the entire series is a social commentary of sorts. This one is the one that's set most present day. Right.
Yeah,
this is the one that is. This is one that can literally happen right now.
Yeah, I don't know if it would feasibly happen. I feel like it's more feasible today than it was a week ago.
Yeah.
Or maybe I should say 8 months ago or whenever Brexit was.
Sure.
But it's doable. Like, it's definitely doable. There's no fancy technology in it. Like,
yeah.
This is all,
you just gotta get around the Secret Service.
This is an episode that's kind of hard to discuss. I mean, the main thing that comes to mind is, would you take the sacrifice or would you just let her die? That's the main discussion question I can see coming out of this one.
Well, if you're the United States, you never give them what they want.
So you would have just let
the FBI. The FBI's strategy is never pay the ransom.
So what you're saying is a President Mango wouldn't fuck the pig.
No, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the FBI's like official stance on things like this is don't pay the ransom.
And it's funny because it would have worked out in the context of the show because we know that she was released before anything even happened.
Yeah.
But it wasn't before they said that they would do it, so.
Yeah, but he could have chickened out and she would have still been released.
And that's... See, I feel like that's... We'll talk about this later, too, but I feel like this falls right in line with hacker culture like this.
Yep, I was thinking.
Like that falls 100% in line with what somebody in like a hacker culture would do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we'll talk about that later for sure.
Specifically for Shop and Dance. I'm gonna be transparent. We don't need to be.
Yeah. That's where I think that's one of the most interesting episodes, in my opinion. Okay.
So then 15 million merits.
And then 15. Okay.
You need a glass shard. You need a broken glass shard.
15 million merits coming directly after National Anthem was
very crazy.
Because you're coming from something, and
I'm gonna
be referring to the mood in the room many times, right?
This is the mood in the room of the
mood in the room is my group of friends watching the show for the first time, right? The mood in the room for the National Anthem was no interest at all. I was like, hey, I heard that this show is good. I'm gonna turn the show on Netflix, and we're just gonna have it on in the background. It's on in the background. Nobody's really paying attention to it. Whatever. I'm really confused, and I'm like, you know what? I heard it was so good. Let's just do one more episode. Okay? So we start up this episode, and from the very beginning, we are all just hooked. The mood has just entirely shifted from the first episode. And that's
that's what Spin does.
Yeah, each thing is just completely different.
The
social commentary on Spin classes.
This was I think this was the second or third episode I watched, because I watched them in an extremely odd order.
Here, how about you just write out the order you watched them in?
I don't remember past Be Right Back being my first one, because that's the one Hello Internet specifically mentioned. After that, I know I watched Waldo last before White Christmas.
Well, you did that right.
Yeah.
So 15 million minutes is just really different.
15 million minutes is a really good episode.
But I feel like it doesn't really fit with the rest of the episodes. It does in tone, but it doesn't in
it reminds me a lot in its story structure of 1984.
Right down to the end. I have not read. I should read it.
Yeah.
Right down to the end, him accepting his role.
Spoilers.
Well,
this is spoilers.
Him accepting his role is not a spoiler.
No, this is a spoiler. If we are going to be talking about spoilers.
No, we're talking about spoilers from 1984. Okay.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's what I was also referring to, but
never mind. I wasn't really
it reminds me a lot of that. 1984 isn't set in this giant jail thing that isn't really a jail, or maybe it is. Who knows?
That's the thing about this episode, right?
There's so many questions that we don't
barely know anything, right? And it's weird because when you walk through it, go through it, they talk about arriving in the different sector, the different cells over time, and the main female actor has family, that was in another cell, but she's in this one now. Or it's weird, and you have to think everybody that they show is around the same age,
right?
And it's interesting to think okay, where are the children? Where are the old people? Do they even exist in the society? We don't even really know if this is a jail or if this is just how
I feel like that's intentional.
They
didn't write the rest of the world. They don't even know what the rest of the world is.
We don't even know if when he's looking outside, if he's actually looking outside or not.
Okay, no.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm very certain that is a window.
A screen.
A window.
I think it's
no. Here. God, this is really hard to tell without an example. We looked at this frame by frame, and if you look at it at the very top, you can see there's outside of the window on top, there's a roof overhanging. There's an overhang at the very top, and that's why I think it's a window. I thought it was a screen before, and then we looked at it.
I think it's purposely ambiguous, and I don't think frame by frame analysis is supposed to be able to.
Well, it's not really frame by frame. I just said that. Come on.
Yeah, this isn't Westworld. You can't frame by frame analysis.
If I look at it
theories.
and you look at the top, of the screen or the window, you can see something on the other side that I'm sure is meaning it's a window.
I don't think doing that is supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to tell. I think it's supposed to be kind of ambiguous.
Ambiguous.
because obviously it's a green screen anyway, so.
Well, yeah, and that's also
So
part of what makes it
they
hard
just
to guess, because you don't know if it's bad CGI on purpose or bad CGI because that's the best they could do.
But like it's very clearly supposed to be like one, like you're not supposed to know, and I don't think any amount of looking at it closely will tell you their true intention. I think their true intention was legitimately
Yeah,
it
I
could
feel like
go
the
either
intention
way.
is to be ambiguous.
Mm-hmm.
So for all intents and purposes, it's both.
Sure.
So, okay, entire history of you. I already said my piece. Everyone's too
Entire
mean.
history of you is a really good episode that bleeds Black Mirror. When you think of Black Mirror,
Everybody's way
this is
too
the
mean.
kind of episode you think of.
Well, the guy in this one was on the Netflix cover.
Yep.
Until the new episodes came out.
Everybody in the entire history of you is really self-centered, and they're really just concerned about themselves. And it makes sense because
What about the babysitter?
the babysitter? Okay, well that's the thing. We don't know a lot about the babysitter. Babysitter is a minor character. The babysitter seems like she's a good person, but that's not what I'm talking about right
What about
now.
the baby? The baby.
What about the baby?
Does the baby have a grain?
Yes.
Is it making memories? Like,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because they bring up the video feed.
Oh yeah. I feel like that's a bad idea for that to exist.
Well, it does.
For parents to be able to look through their children's eyes at their memories. Yeah, no.
Yep, exactly. Think of growing up, right? And just everything you've ever done is just reviewed. And
nope.
Yeah. So
yeah, I totally agree. I just came in,
so for all these for all these benefits that you get, I feel like it almost brings more disadvantages.
So, J Pokes, I was saying how having a grain in a child who's growing up seems like a really, really slippery slope, bad idea.
There's a lack of privacy.
Two people for their bad childhoods, but
would this promote good behavior? Right?
Maybe.
Mango.
Maybe.
You know that your parents are going to be looking at everything you see.
Right.
This is going to change how you act in every situation.
Probably.
Yeah, you don't have like any privacy, but also like everyone is literally living in the past.
Yeah.
And I think like his friend group kind of shows that as well.
Moving on to season 2. Be Right Back. Be Right Back is a nice episode that is very sci-fi. It's a lot less.
I feel like the part about the texting app is plausible.
Yes.
The part with the speech, gets harder because it's really hard to do voices like that.
Yeah.
With like,
but it's sci-fi where anything's possible.
Yeah. And then the body is
able in the real world or not, obviously.
I mean, you can buy bodies that look like people, but they're not gonna act like people.
So have you seen Google's chart about speech though, Mango? From their pixel unveil thing?
No, I know you can do speech, but like it's hard to get someone's voice right like that.
So we only see the technology and the story of this episode from one person's perspective, right? We are just seeing this one person with their one fake host.
Also, she's kind of like out. They're kind of like out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's very isolated, and I definitely think that's on purpose. But like everything is very isolated. You are following two people, one person, two people. Like,
yeah,
it's.
Speaking of being
what if
isolated,
everybody has these. Like a lot of people just have these forms of their loved ones, and that's all people can think about.
My guess is it's probably not as widespread as you might think. Like
I mean,
the
no,
actual
I
getting
definitely don't think
I
it's
feel like the
selling.
texting thing it probably is as widespread, but I feel like
it's
the
obviously
buying
something that was
of
like
buying,
experimental and
yeah,
however, but just like in the future, if it's
because
successful.
I haven't seen this episode in a long time, but doesn't she like talk it over with someone and someone's like, you can do this, right?
Yeah,
Something like that. So like it's not like
it.
something that's like super widespread.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of being alone, White Bear.
White Bear.
I called the episode.
I didn't
like from that first like little hint.
Little hint. No,
like
hint.
when she grabs the
picture.
The picture.
Oh, I haven't seen it in a long time. I didn't get why it was called White Bear until very recently.
The end. Oh, I mean, they say in.
Do they say it? Oh,
they say in the episode.
Oh, is it because that's the case or whatever?
Well, it's because like she had a white bear.
Oh.
Or did you find like some other theory?
No, I thought the little symbol on the TV was supposed to look like a white bear.
Well, I mean that, but like,
it's
how they kidnapped the girl.
It's
bear. Like they kidnap her and she had a white bear, like a stuffed animal bear.
Oh, I forgot that. I haven't seen the episode in like 2 years. So I'm like, why was it called White Bear? And that's what I came up with.
Yeah, no.
I feel like that might also be true, but
yeah,
well, it's intentional
because they don't explain the symbol.
Let me tell you this: watching White Bear with somebody who hasn't seen White Bear before is great. Because you're sitting there super smug, and you're like, "Wow!" And okay, White Bear just in its nature is one of those episodes where you have to watch it a second time, to really appreciate it. So being able to watch it with somebody who hasn't seen it is beautiful.
White Bear kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many times I've seen it, but the first time I saw it, freaked me out a little bit. Gotta say. But
why?
I don't know. It's just like the beginning, especially like waking up and just like not understanding. The whole non-understanding thing, like really hit me. I guess.
Like having to call your son.
I guess.
No, White Bear's really interesting, and this is an episode that has really great discussion that goes with it. Just simply, is this moral?
It's kind of like that argument, like, is hell a moral thing?
Yeah. Well,
like,
here, let me say it like this: is this cruel and unusual?
Well,
certainly unusual.
Definitely. I think that's a easy yes, but it's kind of
because they never actually, they don't physically harm her. It's all psychological.
I think wiping someone's memories in general would be cruel and unusual.
Yeah.
I agree. This is
like if you gave someone Alzheimer's, like, I think that would fall under cruel and unusual. And isn't that essentially what they keep doing by constantly erasing her?
Yeah.
Memory?
I feel like this episode has one of the best like end reveals though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
It's like,
oh yeah, once you find out the twist, you're just like, whoa. Now here's the thing. Obviously, everybody's gonna say this isn't moral, but if you extend it, let's say this actually happens. So we have a case where all of a nation hates a person, right? Entire nation. Mm-hmm. Not half of the nation, an entire nation hates a single person because of some sort of crime they did.
And then they have the hate of the nation on them.
The government goes and sets up this whole program, and they open it up and they say, come watch this person you hate go through hell. Would that take off, or would people protest it? Do you think people
if America, instead of shooting Osama bin Laden, took Osama bin Laden and put him in this thing?
Sure. Or do you think people would? Yeah, let's go with Osama bin Laden. Would people protest it? Because we don't know. They showed us that in the episode.
Right.
They just show all the people cheering as she's,
and obviously those people bought tickets or whatever. So like,
yeah,
they're giving the government money so they can lower taxes.
Yeah. Do you think people would ignore it, and then the people who are into it would like be all over it?
Also, are we aware that this is a government operation?
I don't know if they say explicitly, but I would assume it was, because
the government at least has some sort of hand.
Sure.
This would be a replacement for prison.
Yeah. Because, I mean,
and
theoretically, it could be she was assigned to a private prison and the private prison decided to do this.
Yeah.
And the governments didn't say no.
Because obviously, she's still a criminal.
Is that how private prisons work in Britain land?
Apparently.
Like, do they have private prisons?
I don't know.
I don't know. But
I know America land does, but...
Oh, we sure do.
And
that it's probably an issue.
Let me ask you two, would you go and see this? If
probably not.
If there was something like this and you were able to. Okay, if it was something you could easily go do. It's like downtown.
I mean,
probably not.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
It's not the thing I do.
But
if there was a musical number, now maybe. I like musicals.
And anyway, so I think like for White Bear, a case in real life that kind of had like a similar like public, like everyone rallying against the person was Casey Anthony.
I don't know who that is.
She was accused of killing her 2-year-old daughter.
Oh, jeez.
And like hair and blood was found in her trunk or something like that, but she ended up getting found not guilty, but she was guilty of like 4 misdemeanors of I just had the wiki page
of having a dead baby in her car.
No, of like misinforming law enforcement or providing false information to law enforcement. This was all in like early like 2008 2011 is when the case was, so but that had a very similar like everyone being convinced this person was guilty and being very angry at this person.
You say everyone. I didn't know this case existed.
But you're also
therefore it wasn't everyone.
But you're also Mango, so
okay.
So the Waldo moment. Couldn't be more relevant.
The first time, and I wasn't a huge fan. Then I watched it a second time, and I still wasn't a huge fan. The Waldo moment is extremely controversial. Nobody really likes it. I don't think it's a terrible episode. It's still a good Black Mirror episode, I believe. Like, it's not undeserving of the title, but it's definitely a black sheep.
It was kind of boring. The ending I thought wasn't deserved. Like had they ended it before the whole like Waldo becomes like a big image and elsewhere and then takes over the world, like if they ended before that,
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Maybe I would have disliked the episode slightly less, but I felt that was very undeserved. Like a very like they could have worked harder to make that ending like a thing. Maybe upon a second viewing after this entire election cycle, I might find it a bit more enjoyable, but I don't know if I even want to take the time to watch it a second time. Like,
I don't think it's worth it.
But it's okay, because the best episode is next.
Yep. Which I didn't even know about because it wasn't on Netflix until like a day or two after I finished watching Black Mirror. Like, the first 2 seasons.
Okay. The unrivaled best episode of Black Mirror is this one. White Christmas. Not to be confused with White Bear.
Yeah. And this was also a feature-length episode, right?
Feature-length. This was an excellent
featuring John Hamm
example of writing, of just like everything about this episode is amazing.
I feel like the one problem I have with the episode makes sense in terms of cinematography, and it's that like they're in a little like egg, because really they'd just be in a computer.
Yeah. Well,
but that's the only problem I have with this episode.
Well, I mean, that's just the aesthetic.
Yeah.
So you know it's there.
Right.
Wait, what do you mean? Like
how the cookies are in the little
The cookies are like little eggs or whatever. When like they should probably just be like files on a computer.
I thought they were supposed to look like Amazon Echo-esque.
Yeah, well, I mean
that's either way.
Basically what it is.
But they just be like
on the front. It's just if you don't have a computer, right?
Right.
And then you just bring it in. I mean, obviously everything is a computer in that world because everything works with the internet and whatnot. But
right.
Also, guys, if you paid attention to the last episode of season 3, cookies now have human rights.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, that was like a headline in.
Oh, that's really interesting.
In Hate of the Nation, a little Easter egg there.
Okay,
there's a Waldo sticker on the Shut Up and Dance guy's laptop.
There's tons of references everywhere. So, okay, White Christmas is great because of the pacing. So we start out with, the story of these two guys. Man, I forget because I haven't seen it. I've seen it the most recently, but it's still hard to remember the exact process through it.
Basically, they're in this thing that seems like
they're in this Christmas shed.
It tells two alternating stories that kind of go back and forward. And at the end, when the show wraps everything together, it kind of creates, it's not even like a twist ending. Well, there are twists in the episode, but
it starts out with Ham talking, and he
talking about the cookies.
Yeah, he talked about what he did for a living, and then like and what he did to get there. He's like, because he said like, oh, you only get sent here if you did something really bad or something like that, and then he gives his example of what he did.
Yeah, which he probably shouldn't have done because
they show you one thing. They show you one thing, and then they give you enough time to forget about it, and then they bring it back because when you're watching the episode, you think you're seeing two unrelated things. And then they bring them together by making them extremely related.
Also, this is they call back to that song from A Million Merits in this.
Yeah, I mean, all the episodes have tons of callbacks to each other. You can go on the subreddit and you can see all of them.
That was like that's their most obvious callback they ever do.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done it twice now, right?
So now we've gone through and given our brief thoughts on the first 2 seasons in the special. Mm-hmm. So now we can dive in, give more expanded thoughts on season 3.
Season 3 of Black.
5 stars.
Is that your rating?
I don't know, but I want to add the sound.
Yeah, I figured that was your plan.
We should rate each episode from 1 to 5 stars, but that's too much work. So
fair enough. Nosedive.
This was the only episode where like I recognized actors. Like
I recognized actors.
I recognized the main actress in Be Right Back. She's in Captain America.
I recognized the main actress in San Junipero because she's like one of the main characters in *Halt and Catch Fire*.
No, we all recognized her. We weren't exactly sure where she was from.
But... Yorkie is who we talked about. She was also in *The Martian*. She was like
that's it. Yeah, that was the one that we looked up. Yeah, that's why. Okay. But
I know her from being on *Halt and Catch Fire*, which is a good show.
Mm-hmm.
Just watch it.
Also, the guy in Be Right Back is in Ex Machina.
Also, John Hamm.
Yeah, but when I said that, I meant in season 3.
Yeah,
like obviously, like John Hamm.
So let me read the official description of the. Also, just all of the official descriptions for these episodes are all terrible. I'm gonna read it anyways. So Nosedive says, in a future entirely controlled by how people evaluate others on social media, A girl is trying to keep her score high for preparing for her oldest childhood friend's wedding. Right? All these descriptions do no justice for the show, but
I think that's semi on purpose, but
yeah. So this follows.
Why are all their devices have transparent?
Because it's the future and it's sci-fi, and that lets you know that it's science fiction. So we're following the story of Lacey, who's
played by that person that was in Jurassic World.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that, so.
It's an okay.
You know what? Instead of giving a summary of this episode, I'm just gonna start talking about it. A couple of things that came up to me. So, Lacey works in this big office building, right? And there's all these people at all their computers, and they're all next to each other. But it's like, what does she even do? All that they show us is her.
She works.
But what,
probably marketing,
doing social media,
probably sales or marketing.
You need a certain score to get into the building too, which is a little weird.
Mm-hmm. And for every interaction where they work with other people, they do the rating, and it, I know what the answer to my question is, but at first I was wondering if they had any sort of currency or if it was just this rating system. But then,
buys obviously, something, right?
Yeah, but it's she buys it, but I don't really see the transfer. But I'm thinking that.
Well, that's not the focus.
I know. I'm thinking that money is mostly actually kind of in this world.
Part of the point of it, of the episode, was her trying to get approved for the.
Yeah. No, I realize.
I see it as how you have frequent flyer reward status, and if you're diamond level, you get certain perks.
Yeah.
If we're being quite honest, though, almost all currency is digital at this point.
Yeah,
it's just something you see totally flushed out. People also, they say this episode's really predictable. I mean, it's I guess it is.
Well, this is a concept
as soon as the episode started. As soon as the episode started, you kind of knew where it was going to go. But that's okay.
This is a concept that's been explored in other places.
It's there's this character, and you just see them go through all this awfulness for them, and it's but at the same time, it I don't want to use the word cringy, but it's all cringy. It's legitimately made me cringe because I didn't want all this bad stuff to happen, and it was. And
yeah, I mean, I still think it was a really interesting story, and it was nice kind of seeing her break down. I remember, so there's this one part where she's at the airport trying to get a ticket, and she's going crazy, and she got placed on the double penalty thing, and everybody in the room just was like, "Oh my god," because I think we could all kind of just think about that and how crazy that would be in real life.
Here's how you avoid getting double damage.
That you're trying to maintain, and then all of a sudden it's just any mistake you make is going to be extremely bad.
The correct answer, which I mean, she couldn't really do this because of her timetable. Mm-hmm. The correct answer is to go into your house and watch Netflix for the next day or two while you're on double damage.
Watch all Black Mirror.
Yeah, do that. It'll take you a few hours.
I really liked the truck driver character.
Yeah, truck driver.
It was just good. Totally, in a world filled with white, she was, a black dot, where it's just totally different from the rest of the world we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Also, the when she's in that after the truck lady, that show or whatever.
Yeah, that was actually really funny when she was trying to.
Apparently, that was that was brought up in.
Wait, what?
That show was from another episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cosplayers.
That was really fun.
Do people wear their cosplay on the way to the convention?
Yeah, they're partying.
Is this?
I mean, one of the people had face paint and stuff, and that's not something that you can take on and off in an instant.
So you put it on when you get there, You wear it throughout the convention.
Mango, have you ever been to
lines are long, man.
I don't
No.
think
so. I've gone to like a Comic-Con and stuff, and like any second getting into that line is worth it because those lines take forever.
I guess.
I think
so.
And it was obviously the message at the very end,
Yeah.
where
I don't really understand.
The two characters are just
exactly
letting everything out, and it's really therapeutic because they can just not worry about anything and just do whatever they want. And I think it was a really beautiful ending.
But like, what happens to her? Really, like she's put into this like jail cell.
Well, I'm sure she's just it's a prison sentence.
I guess
she just showed up and disrupted and threatened to
prison sentence for threats, man.
The ending made me want to see like how that guy got there, and like I'd be totally open for another episode like in this setting, but like from a different perspective.
And it just ends at the same scene, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it ends at the same scene, but like you just watch the entire episode from that guy's perspective.
Well, that's not gonna happen.
That's never happening. However, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it will happen, but like I just threw it out there as an interesting thought.
Yeah. So
maybe we'll find out on January 1st.
I don't think so. So man, would that be crazy? The next 6 episodes are all just different perspectives.
Something I really liked about this episode, technically, when they played the music when she was like going on her rampage, the music had the 1-star like little jingle interspersed. And I'm like, you did it. Did a good job.
The sound design in all of these episodes was great.
Yeah,
like each episode was really good.
We'll get to that on the next episode too, because Charlie Brooker said something very interesting about the sound design of Playtest. Do we have much else to say about Nosedive?
The brother was also kind of an interesting perspective that I wished we would have seen more of.
Yeah, because he didn't really care either. He was mid threes.
Also, why did the light turn off when she walked away while he was still there? And like, I didn't get that.
Motion activity.
Yeah, but like he was there and it was on while she was standing still there.
Well, you know what?
Maybe they just had a bug in their cookie.
Maybe she set her if to TT to when she leaves, turn off the lights. And he doesn't have if TTT on his phone.
Yeah.
You can do that. That's the thing you can do today. Playtest.
Directed by the guy that directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, in itself a movie that feels like a long Black Mirror episode.
I have also not seen that.
Nope.
It's a good movie. It's an hour and 46 minutes. It's worth your time.
But the only way I can watch it is to buy it on Amazon or Vudu, so I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Or to rent whatever.
Unfortunately, that's the only way.
Yeah, the only way for you to do it.
Unfortunately. So, Playtest is an episode where I did not see the end coming.
Neither did I. The end. Okay. God. Here's the thing about that episode. The end was good. It was shocking, but it could have been done so much better, man. Could have been so much better. It could have been so much more.
I felt like the end would have been.
He should have called his mom.
Like, I feel like the end would have felt better had it ended before the second ending.
They shouldn't. Yeah, God, when they did the double fake on us, like it was kind of neat because like it was.
I thought it was predictable, and I feel like it was all done just to make that pun at the end.
Yeah, like it was too soon. Like they did the first wake up, and then they did the second wake up way too soon after. Like, yeah. Especially because you're sitting there and you're kind of confused, like because you wakes up the first time, you're like, okay, is this part of the simulation? Is this real? Like, what's going on? You're still kind of thinking, and he's going back to the house, right? And you're still sitting there thinking, like, okay, this is just part of the simulation, like it's about to get scary or whatever. And it's like, then he just wakes up, and then he's dead, and you're kind of just sitting there, like, wait, what? And I guess that's kind of what they're going for, but
like I thought it would have been neat to like leave the first ending because like now he's aware of like his deepest fears because like it's kind of hard to know what you're like truly afraid of, and now like he's aware of his like deepest darkest fears.
They should
have, and then it gets realized when he gets there, and he would have been able to like see this coming and like prepare for it had he not just abandoned his mom. And like
I think the double fake out just made it like an extra Black Mirror
cheap
moment.
Like it, God, it just was really weird.
I mean, there were kind of hints at it, like how the game developer had like a really bad kind of borderline racist accent.
Yeah, I mean,
did they show the game the developer guy after he like was dead?
Hideo Kojima. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they show him like after he was like dead after like half a second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did.
He's like, don't tell anybody.
It was also like half a second. Like
yeah.
It was
like 0.04. 0.04.
I find it weird that he was both part of the simulation, even though the guy had never met him.
He had seen his picture.
Yeah,
I guess.
He didn't know if the guy knew English or not.
Right. I guess that's true.
Like,
but the thing is, it's hard to talk about because literally all of that like isn't. It's when it's part of the simulation, it's not part of the simulation. You know,
right.
None of it happened in any capacity. So this whole episode, when you're thinking about like, okay, is this real? Is this fake? Like, is this part of whatever? Like, none of it.
If that was a risk, they would not have even let the cell phone in the room. Like,
yeah, well, that was just kind of dumb. But no, well, they didn't know. They didn't know it was gonna happen like that.
If there were like if cell phone interference like that is a possibility, they would.
But they didn't know it was gonna be that bad. They just didn't want the things to.
I mean, you're assuming that, but it seems like they knew that was the case at the end.
No, I don't think they did. They seemed like they had no idea what happened. She was like, I don't know what happened. Like the phone
mean, then
rang,
why wouldn't she? Like if she ever had a cell phone on her, then that could have caused interference or something like.
But it's probably just something that never really happened because.
Even if it was the case that they just didn't want it, like him taking pictures of it, I think they would have just made him like leave the phone at the door.
Yeah,
that's usually.
But then they couldn't do the twist that they wanted.
And something that I saw, I think in the Charlie Brooker AMA, someone asked him and he answered how during like the sound during like the whole scaring scene, like the sound design, like they had like the phone ringing as part of the sound design, which I did not notice at all when I watched it.
Yeah.
But I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. No, the sound and all of them are amazing.
I find like, but there's like so many questions about like what happens at the end, because like he takes a picture and sends it.
Well, yeah,
he takes a picture and sends it to the person. Like that did happen.
Totally fine with leaving loose ends, right?
Right. Yeah. Totally. So like, she understands very small details of what happened.
And I'm sure, like, legally they're not at fault because of that stuff he signed, right?
Yeah, they switched the contract.
God. Okay, see, that part was...
They switched the contract.
Annoying. That part was really annoying, because like, oh, let me grab a new contract. And it's like, okay, this is already extremely sketchy, right? Even if it was just them trying to set up... and I thought they were going to go over that more, like over the contract switch, but it seemed like it was just a setup for him to turn the phone on.
Listeners.
But like if you're signing a document and like you read the whole thing and you're like, oh, look, what about this? Like, oh, let me just grab the right page, and then they walk out with everything and come back, but do not sign that without reading it again. I was like, what is going on?
Listener.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I thought she just went and grabbed the page.
Dear listener, if you are to sign a contract and they have to go and get something to fix the contract that you notice, such as, for example, there is no final page to sign your name on, and they take the whole contract back from you and give you a new contract to sign.
Read it all again.
First of all, read the entire contract again. Second of all, Get the freak out of there, because anybody that does that is super shady.
Yeah, that's no good. No bueno.
Also, if you're going to take a picture and you think you can be sneaky about it, actually, like, turn off your phone. It doesn't take very long. You hold the button for like a second.
Well, but he didn't have
he
the
was
time.
rushing.
He took the picture and then the door started to open. He didn't have time to like plan it all out.
I guess.
If he tried to turn the phone off, he wouldn't have been able to.
Man, that Gopher game looked fun though.
Yeah, it did. It did look fun.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Gear VR.
No, coming soon to Microsoft HoloLens.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was definitely a HoloLens thing, or even like the 3DS AR cards.
Yeah.
Which apparently one of those little symbols was the
white bear
symbol.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Of course it was. But yeah, those little symbols remind me a lot of like the 3DS AR cards. Because they're like the same.
Yeah, those were pretty neat, and I was hoping that they would be a lot more like Amiibo. Like,
Amiibo. Thanks.
Now I need to get a new sound effect for Amiibo.
Amiibo.
So this next episode here is one of the most crazy episodes.
God, I have a lot of issues with this episode.
Do you? I think this is probably one of the most interesting.
Shut Up and Dance or San Junipero?
No, this is Shut Up and Dance.
Okay, I forgot which one came.
I think this is one of the most interesting episodes.
This episode, I feel like I was robbed of.
Why?
Because I feel like, and I get what you said about it supposed to be a reveal at the end, but it's really annoying going through this entire episode without really knowing.
That's the point.
But it retracts from the enjoyment of the episode, because we're sitting there, like the entire group of us, we're sitting there and we're just like, why is this guy freaking out? Like, we were just annoyed at the guy because we thought he was overreacting. Because we didn't know how old he was. We didn't know what he was
That's
watching.
A good question. How old is he? Because my guess is
like
19. Yeah.
He's 19.
Is that like
we don't know? That? So when we were going through the episode, we were assuming, okay, he's over 18 and he's just watching normal porn and he's just afraid of people like seeing the video.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't just watching porn. He was recorded masturbating.
Well, yeah.
Which, if that leaks, like, you're gonna get some crap for that. Like,
I know, but that's.
And they kind of set off.
I thought that's all that it was.
Environment, like how they would handle.
How they're already hazing him.
But he'll get over it. Like, it's not gonna be the end of the world.
Like, he started going through with it because like it was small scale, sorta.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
go here.
I think what the episode wanted you to do is once he met up with the other guy and they went to the bank, the other guy pressured him, and that's when he broke down. Which the show makes you think that he's breaking down because the guy's pressuring him.
Yeah.
When in fact, he's breaking down because that pressure sets in his mind what he really did.
We just think if at the beginning of the episode they made it a lot more obvious.
No, that would have ruined it. That would have ruined it.
No, then we would have been able to appreciate it and we would have been along for the ride.
No, I completely disagree.
Because we understood.
I don't know about you, but most people wouldn't root for the pedophile.
I told someone to watch this episode, and they predicted that ending, and they looked it up, and then they stopped watching the episode. Because they weren't interested.
Okay. Most people won't root for the pedophile.
They're like, oh, it's about that. Exactly. Like, the person I was talking to them, and they were just like, yeah, I have no sympathy for this person now, even though it's like 5 minutes in the episode when you're supposed to. So,
okay, well,
but it makes him looking at the children's drawings and like him helping out the child at the very beginning.
It makes that a lot worse.
See, the reason I feel like it would have been better if we knew is because I would have felt more empathy. I would have been able to understand why this was such a big bad.
But I feel like that's part of it.
Because I was sitting there.
I feel like you're supposed to feel part of. This is not. I don't think this is as big a deal as he does. I think that's.
But it ruined the episode because we're just sitting there like, wow, this guy's overreacting. Like we were just annoyed at him. We were
I think
annoyed
that maybe
because he was going
because
to
you were
such
watching this as a
lengths.
group.
I don't think so.
And like you
I
kind
felt
of
the same way anyway.
I think you're supposed to kind of get that inkling, but then when like you're agreeing with others, it kind of like builds up in your head, like, oh yeah, man, that is really stupid. And like,
yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's kind of like this self-fulfilling cycle where like because you guys are all kind of had that feeling already, and I think everyone's supposed to have that feeling a bit like okay, robbing the bank is a bit too far. Like
yeah.
But even before that, it just felt like everything he was doing was just unnecessary instead of just accepting defeat and living with the decision.
I mean, like anything before delivering the cake, like that seemed even up to like driving with that guy. Like I could see going through that just avoid.
If you got a random message from a person that you have no idea, and they told you to,
they sent him a screenshot of his video.
Yeah.
But and it's not like they were asking him to go to some private place. Like, it was in a wide open area.
It was like a hotel.
A parking garage.
Yeah, so it's
that's
like...
where he went first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's
but
like...
So if you were in a situation and somebody messaged you to go to the top of the
if they're blackmailing you, then maybe.
Also, it didn't seem like he had gotten much sleep before that, too. So.
Okay, so before that happens, though, what and how did this happen to him? Because it at the start, his like sister or whatever gets like a virus on his computer.
Oh yeah, and they totally gloss over like how it actually.
And then
happened.
He tries to
malware removing software.
Okay, I'm not done. I'm not done yet. I'm not done. There's multiple things. Let me explain. So there's the virus that the sister puts on. He goes to a search engine and he types in like malware removal and chooses the first result, which looks way too much like freaking malware for my tastes. But I mean, so did Malwarebytes for a year though. So you know.
I mean, if you type in malware removal, it's like. And you click on the first thing, I guess for Google it's Microsoft.
Yeah, but like I think it was intentional that it looked a lot like malware to people who knew computers.
Yeah, and see that's also another.
Also, the name of it is like a biblical name or something like that. Like it's like
it's intentionally shady
because we were who we were and we understood like how computers work and. Like how malware works and how you go to remove it. I have experience with this. Yeah. Just like it was just frustrating. Like the entire episode was just frustrating because I feel like like I was just annoyed because it's like the way he was doing everything was just really dumb.
Yeah, but then there's also the cheese pizza website, that he went to, which also could have had some sort of like malware on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly what triggered it.
No, it was definitely the
I mean, it was when he did the
malware removal.
And then he reset
But that malware removal is something anybody could have downloaded.
Yeah, they probably the thing is they probably
but it's very clear that the people who are running it have a motive.
No, Mango, it's not.
And they're targeting people
because they're recording him before he goes to the website.
Yeah, like they show it within the camera. It's very.
You go to the website before you unzip.
No, Mango, you think that every single person was specifically targeted. No, what happened was they cast a wide net, and then they picked from the worst that they got.
I mean, I suppose. I guess you can do that. I guess that requires a lot of data mining, though.
Each person.
I mean, they probably have a keylogger.
Like their search result, search results. And
they probably have like a keylogger on their computer, so they can see where they go.
Search cheese pizza or whatever that one guy was guilty of, or prostitutes.
Okay. Yeah, the one guy was just
There was that one guy that delivered the cake to him, and we never know what he did.
Yeah, they didn't really tell us about him much.
Or
the one lady
look through. She was a CEO, so of like a big company.
Yeah,
so like when
racist emails.
Yeah, they probably like went and searched through her stuff without like specifically targeting her. Or like not without, but like purposely, specifically targeting her, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest probably got caught through the same means or similar means.
Yeah, but like that's a lot of work. Like I feel like it would be a lot easier to have catfish style websites on Tor or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that seems like it would be a lot. That seems like it would be a lot easier.
He has a very sick sense of like entertainment.
Don't you think it would be a lot easier to go on Tor and put up websites for cheese pizza and for prostitution and stuff?
Sure. Yeah, but he probably wanted it in a way that like
I mean, you could also do the other thing. But
yeah, he probably wanted it in a way that would be harder to track, like
probably.
Like just in case, so like if these people don't know like how they got it, because like after that happened, do you think Kenny like knew like, oh man, I shouldn't have downloaded that malware remover? Like, do you think he had any idea where it came from or any of them? Like,
maybe.
Honestly, Kenny had no idea what was going on the entire time.
I feel like
Kenny is not an intelligent person.
I feel like he, of all the people, was probably most aware of how it started.
I mean,
because it seems like most of the other people are less computer literate than him.
Yeah. I mean, he did at least understand the computer. Like he understood that he had malware.
Yeah.
And he had to remove it.
Yeah.
But
should have run Linux. But I think as it went, I think having that twist at the end was a great idea.
The twist, okay, it was a good twist. I just feel like it was a really weird just conflict because I was annoyed at the protagonist for what he was doing. And I felt like I couldn't agree with anything he was going through.
So, what do you think about the end? The ending? Like not the thing about Kenny, but the thing about the
freaking troll face. We all freaking so dumb.
That is like one of the most.
It's super outdated. We're all just like, are you?
I think it was sort of intentionally like that.
Yeah, it was just kind of a slap in the face because this entire time, like, you know, as like technology, computer, internet aficionados, we're sitting there already annoyed at this episode, and then they just show like the troll face where it just feels like your grandma.
And for Facebook, a second,
like discovering memes for the first time.
Right. But like for a second, I'm like, why are they doing that? The troll face, and I'm like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I understood what they were going for, but just like the use of it.
And I think that is like even more than in National Anthem. Like this is even more of like a
it was
thing
terrible.
To do.
Like it was,
That is like exactly.
If they really wanted to be hip with the kids, they would have done Kappa face.
Yeah, Kappa face. But like, I think that is like one of the most like hackery things to do.
Yeah, no, I think the ending was still good.
Excuse me. If you want to be a hacker vigilante, that's what you do.
Like there was
you
no
don't go take that down random coffee shops.
No, so I think this was like a really good episode, but Toon disagrees. I think.
God, like
I really liked it. I kind of saw the opinion, but
I would have enjoyed it more if we just. It does. God, like I understand what you're saying, but
see, I watch these episodes for what they are. I don't see these things coming.
If we just understood, I just watch it as it comes. If we just had some other sort of reason to like, I don't know, emotionally attach to the protagonist.
I feel like a very easy way for them to have done this is to like show more between him and his was it a boss? Was it just another
it was the boss.
coworker
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
in
just
charge
like
of?
I didn't feel emotionally attached to him at all. Like they should have made us like him more.
I feel like this would have been a better candidate maybe for being the featured length episode.
Maybe.
Yeah. If they just made us like
I think
more, I feel like I would have enjoyed the episode.
I think
because otherwise
people just aren't appreciating this episode enough. I think it was really good.
I like
a lot
this
of people
episode.
on the Reddit really love it.
It's really good.
I thought it was a really good episode. I think it could have been better. But I don't think it could have been better as in playtest where it's like the ending felt like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I thought it was pretty solid, but it could have been better. And I think of all the episodes, it could have been a pretty good one to expand upon.
I completely agree. Episode 2, playtest, episode 3, show up and dance, could have been so much better with a few tweaks, but it's just one of the things of season 3 that like kind of disappoints me the most. But the rest of the episodes are all really good. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the last one.
Hated Nation.
I'm not a huge fan of that one, but the ones in between that, San Junipero and Men Against Fire, are amazing.
Okay, so we're halfway through the season, and at this point, I'm like, well, I guess they're all just going to be depressing.
At this point, we've ordered our Domino's pizza, and we're waiting for it to show up.
But like at this point in the season, I'm just like, oh, they're all going to be depressing. Yep. Thanks, Charlie.
Well, I thought Nosedive kind of had like
yeah, you could argue that that's like a sort of uplifting, but in aggregate, it's sort of depressing.
Yeah.
So,
San
then San Junipero happened
because none of us knew what was going on. Right? You get into that episode, you are like, "What is happening?" I have no idea.
Okay, so it starts in 80s land, and
dude, I was so excited for an episode set in the past.
See, I thought she was gonna be a time traveler.
Like I didn't read the description.
Like,
I
didn't read any description,
and I'm like, okay, this is the episode set in the past.
Okay, why are you reading the episode descriptions before you watch the episode?
Well, I tried not to, but sometimes, like, your eyes just start, and then
I don't have that problem.
I actually did too. I read it.
So
yeah, but I read 1987. I'm like, I got really excited because it was the
because it says like it says like, okay, let me look at the description. So it says, in a seaside town in 1987, a shy young woman and an outgoing party girl strike up a powerful bond that seems to defy the laws of space and time. So we were thinking, all right, it's set in the past.
I mean, that's accurate.
It is.
It's a little deceiving, but it's accurate.
It is.
But like,
so I
was excited. I didn't know what to expect. I was a little let down that it wasn't actually set in the past. I thought maybe it was gonna have something to do with like the Max Headroom incident or something, especially when we saw the TV screens behind, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm. So throughout the beginning of this episode,
it starts in the 80s, and you're like,
in the 80s, and you have no idea what's going on. At least we didn't.
You can see that like
confused.
So it's like you're in a club, and she goes to the club. She sees this other lady. Talks for a little bit. There's some assumption that one of them's lesbian, but like nothing really like happens. She just kind of leaves.
Wait, what about you're forgetting Bubble Bobble?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they should Bubble Bobble. I was like, oh my god.
I thought that was great because she's like the actor in the TV show set in the 80s, *Halt and Catch Fire*. So I'm like, this totally fits.
Also, they kind of hint at the ending when the guy says, if you play with two players, it has a different ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like, I wasn't really sure what was going on at all. And then it's like they go to the next week, and like doesn't it like have on screen like 1 week later or whatever?
Yeah.
So it's 1 week later.
There's after, like, we know the time hit midnight, then it showed 1 week later.
Yeah. And we weren't really sure why it ended at midnight. We just assumed that like there was some weird, I don't know. But then she comes back a week later, and isn't she like not there? The other lady?
Yeah. No, I thought she was there the second week, and that's when they. Is
that what happened? The second week, she is there, and they hook
because
up.
the first week she freaks out when they start to dance together, and the second week is when
they hook up.
Yeah, that's when they hook up. Then the
third week, she looks for her again, and she's not there. So, and then she goes to some other club, and she's not there either. And someone just like suggests like try a different time period or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I was like,
excuse me.
No, the time periods didn't come until she looked at the weird club, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she went to the second club, and then someone suggested try a different time.
Yeah, the guy that we kept seeing her talk to.
So then, and they use the TVs as reference for the time period.
Yeah,
the TVs in like the storefront,
in the movie theater, and the storefront.
So it goes to the 90s, basically. I thought it was like early 2000s at first, but it's clearly the 90s. Like I think it's like a little unclear, but I think it's
that's
supposed to be the 90s.
It doesn't matter. You can tell that the era has changed.
But you can tell that the era has changed, and she's not in that era. And then she goes to an era which is most definitely the 2000s.
Also,
because Ironic is playing.
That one guy from the very beginning with the video games happens to be there as well.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
But yeah, you can tell now that it's the 2000s because the song Ironic is playing. The song where nothing is ironic in the song.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, supposed to be ironic.
We were actually hoping it was going to go into the future, but it didn't really happen.
And then she finds her there. What's she playing? Dance Dance Revolution?
Yeah.
Yeah, with that guy. And that guy that just wanted to play video games with someone and possibly hook up.
And then, like, they do stuff. I don't remember what happened.
Well, then she kind of gets upset because she's like, "This isn't that wasn't supposed to be like emotional. Like, I'm not here to make."
And this was like sort of like foreshadowed because like she's talking to some other guy about like a similar sort of situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Beforehand. And then like turns out Nostalgia Land is for old people. Or sick people. Whatever.
Yeah.
Old sick people.
And I know a lot of people were, at least a lot of people I talked to about it, they were upset about her cheating on her fiance.
The dead one? Or Greg?
No.
Greg.
No, the main character.
Okay, hold on.
Greg.
Can I talk about this real quick? So, okay, the hospital guy, Greg.
He's probably a nice guy.
You know who I'm talking about? It's funny because okay, and the only reason I noticed this is because one of the friends I was watching with name is Greg, right? But in episode 1, Nosedive. Okay, this episode is weird because it has so many like things about where I live, or just like with my friends. So, in the first episode, Nosedive, right? You remember she's at the wedding and she yells out this whole thing. She's like, "Oh, like she fucked Greg!" Like in the wedding, it's like, "Oh," right? And we're all sitting there like, "Hey," because we have Greg with us. We played it all up like, "Hey, Greg." And then Greg's in this episode too. And then he comes out, he's just, this big fat guy. You're like, oh.
I mean,
but
isn't that...
It's just funny because they use the same name twice for a character who wasn't a main character, but like he's still like kind of a name. Right?
Yeah.
That we just noticed. I thought was interesting. And something else I want to say about this episode, right, is that at one point, hold on, I need to double check what their names
Apparently, assisted suicide is only legal if you're married.
Mm-hmm.
No, you need your family to sign off, or
so apparently, assisted suicide is only legal if you're married.
So at one point,
Your
Kelly and
family could
Yorkie.
sign off.
She didn't have any family.
No, her
Therefore,
family was super religious.
yeah.
So at one point, Kelly and Yorkie are talking about where they are in the real world, right? And Kelly lives in Carson City, Nevada, and Yorkie is in Santa Rosa, California.
It's not
Guess
near
who
where
else
you
is
are.
in Santa Rosa, California? It's
2
me.
Link 418.
So when they said the name of the city that we all live in, Ord is like, what is happening? Like they said the line, and obviously it's just a normal line, so they just keep talking. But we're all kind of just like, wait a second. Then we're all just yelling like, what the heck is happening?
That's pretty good.
It's like first Greg and now this. It's like, oh my god.
Nice.
But yeah, that was just kind of a weird thing. Like this episode was really fun to watch because the energy in the room was just so like full. We were just going crazy over it.
Yeah, and then this one's the only one with a good ending. Or I'm not gonna call it a good. I'm gonna call it a melancholy.
It's not a bad ending.
It's not a bad ending.
Not like a sad ending.
Yeah, it's not sad.
Again, Nosedive. I thought that ending was
like it's a
You're
good.
Right.
I think it's a.
But she still got like put in jail.
Yeah, I think this is a good ending, but like it. I
like
feel
an
like
undebatably good ending.
But like the whole idea that like there are just these two bits of data that continue to live independently.
Right.
I wonder if
is just like a weird thought.
Cookies, right? Like,
I'd presume so.
And morally, it's
cookie.
It's
the cookie
you
MMO.
Can't even say like, would you choose between living in that world or like forever, or just being dead? And you can't. It's not even like an argument.
But here's the thing.
She says you can leave whenever you want.
This is the clone argument. Like so, if you were cloned, both copies of you would think you're the original you.
Yeah.
And so
like
they know that they aren't in the simulation or whatever.
Sure, but like one of you has one stream of consciousness and the other has another. And the one that continues doesn't realize the other one ends.
Yeah.
So like the physical stream of consciousness of like Yorkie just ends.
Yeah.
This is the Star Trek teleporter question.
Yeah.
Basically, right?
Or
because
it's every time you go to sleep, you're
right. Yes, there's that whole CGP gravy about it, right? Like, because once you have more than one consciousness timeline, things get messy.
Sure.
Because what if they upload you, but then somehow you are revived?
In real life?
Yeah.
Well, it's a separate consciousness.
Yes. But then you...
So
what if you went back into Nostalgia Land? So now there's two of you, which are which the original you is very confused.
Well, that would just...
Because it is the original you, of course. Because why wouldn't you be the original you? You're you.
Well, you just said.
No, what would... No, my
but
thing
also,
about
they
it
could,
is...
they could, in theory, just re-upload the memories to her.
How come they had to choose like a time permanently? Why couldn't they just jump around as they wish, or maybe like once a week have the ability?
Server limitations.
I'm gonna presume that that's an oversight on the programmer's part.
Yeah, that's just something where it's like a bad feature implementation. Yeah. It's not like
I mean, there's not really any UI to switching. Like they need a little like Sword Art Online little like menu you can
pink lever, man.
You need a little Sword Art Online like pop-up menu when you do your finger down.
Can we please not reference crap shows while talking about Black Mirror? Thank you.
No, you know what I'm talking about, right? With the little menu that pops up when you like swipe your finger down, it's in front of you.
Watch that.
Watched about 2 episodes of that, and then I'm like, nah.
It's an interesting UI concept. Regardless, like there's nothing really to facilitate that.
Yeah,
I feel like
I think that's fine.
The way to successfully facilitate that is if you want to keep the immersion, you have some sort of like office where you go to submit a request to change, and then it changes when you go to sleep and wake up. That's how you successfully fulfill that.
Sounds about right to me.
But it's not an easy problem.
Yeah.
So they overlooked it. But yeah, that's the reason that, like, even though it's a good ending, I still am like,
San Junipero was a great episode.
I don't think it's my favorite episode, but I see why it's yours.
No, it's not. It's not my favorite episode.
What's your favorite episode?
I don't know.
I mean, overall, it has to be White Christmas. Let's be real.
Okay.
It's White
Christmas. Well, there you
go. San Junipero was just great because of like the energy that was in the room.
That was the happy episode. Let's go back to Depression Land.
Man, this episode was great. This is great.
Welcome
Black Mirror
to
episode.
How to Get Away with Racism.
This year, How to Get Away with Murder parody.
I don't even know how to freaking talk about this because it's such a.
This one was an episode like I thought like this was one of my first thoughts when I saw like the Zedis and
what
that sort of thing in other episodes of Black Mirror. I'm like, yeah, this is neat, but I wonder what the military use of it would be.
And the thing is, this is a military only thing because like this isn't something that literally everybody has. I don't even know like how to start talking about this because
we're talking about Men Against Fire.
Yep.
The one with the roaches. So my favorite line in this episode, I have subtitles on when I was watching Netflix. I have subtitles on because I don't know entirely why, but I kind of like it. So regardless, the guy's in that like white room or whatever, talking to like the therapist guy or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think he's really a therapist. I think he's just like the boss.
That's the military guy who like controls him with the tablet.
Yes, but he's also like acting therapist. And the guy, the black guy who is like really like annoyed that and angered that like the roaches are really just people.
Yeah.
And they've been tricking him. He like says all of his problems, and then the guy says, "Yeah, I understand why you'd say that." Yeah, and then goes on to explain. But like, it's like, yeah, I understand how you'd say that. I think the exact line is, "I can understand why you would say that." Yeah, like, and the extra "yeah" at the end, just like. It's
humanizes it, right?
Yeah, I guess. But like, he is intensely aware of what he is doing. That guy. He is intensely aware.
They're doing it so the military can do their operations easily.
Yeah. They're intensely aware.
Well, it's not only that, it's also like
they're tricking
so the military could perform eugenics.
Yeah. Because it's all about population control. We got to have a homogeneous population, right?
Yeah.
That's how you solve the world.
So much better.
But yeah, this was an episode that I kind of like I said, I was expecting something like this before, and I like the concept, especially because like I had heard about the whole like the people not shooting and that sort of stuff before, and that's a very interesting topic to me. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm not a very violent person, but I'm like, I'm glad to see that.
It was definitely extremely effective. It worked.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with it is like that was one of my first thoughts was, they're using the eye implants, but then I'm like, oh wait, those people don't have the eye implants. Why are
it's not just the eye implant? It's the brain implant.
Yeah.
Well, the mass, but the mass implant or whatever. But the citizens, the villagers, they didn't.
They're normal.
Yeah, they didn't have the implants though, so
that's
they were just
what the media tells them.
Yeah, but like, how do they know who's a roach and who isn't? Like,
it's just
the roaches. The roaches are the crazy people.
it's not like they could like in Nazi Germany be like, oh, that person kind of looks like a Jew. Like it's just these are they have stuff in their blood apparently. Like it.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing too. They like actually had diseases.
Like I'm presuming that there's some sort of like mental
it's
illness.
Not that they have disease.
Some genetic mental disease.
Higher likelihood of having disease.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably like some mental and physical genetic diseases that have spread enough through a certain sect of the population that it's now becoming a problem.
Also, how do like the masses work to identify
don't worry about
them?
It. Don't worry about
imagine there was some sort of registry
this is
beforehand.
A television show.
Well, like
yeah, I mean, it's just one of the things where you have to suspend your disbelief, even
well,
though it's like something that you have to look at. It's like
I was gonna roll this into a topic that they talked about in the episode, where there were more and more like checkpoints or something. We weren't quite clear what, but she was saying that they would try to use like whatever, and the devices would just come back as no, you're a monster or something like that. So
it might just be like facial recognition or
well, yeah, it's definitely like some sort of facial recognition with like a registry of all these people. But what was the technology they were using? Like that, like was it just some sort of like
this is a TV show
aid system
that has
done well, I mean, it's like the Test of the Eyes.
No, I'm not talking about like the TV show Logic Mango. I'm talking about like the world building that they have going, because like it at least in some ways it's a interconnected world.
It
even
uses
if not every episode.
Similar technology, at least. Like, because we keep seeing this, like the eye implant technology over and over.
It's very possible that all the episodes are connected somehow, but I think it's like
more so than just the loose references of music and like posters and stickers.
Yeah, I think it's on a as confirmed basis, like whether an episode is canon to any other episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that they're not necessarily written or intended to be connected most of the time.
Yeah.
But they could, potentially.
Mm-hmm. And like that whole Pixar world being connected.
Oh, yeah, Pixar theory? I believe in that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you know about the Pixar theory, Tuan?
It's true, all of it. It's a joke.
The argument is like good enough that I can believe it, which is like
Cars, like many times in Cars' history, it ruins everything. Like,
you know what? Cars are when the machines go.
When the uprise.
No, here's the thing.
Has so many contradictions, but
okay, this is a digression. But the Pixar theory is humans versus animals versus machines is the whole concept of the Pixar theory. And there's a website for it, but it's a little out of date because it's
pixartheory.com that goes up to 2013.
Yeah. And then you can go watch Super Carlin Brothers or whatever for the rest of the theories.
So you start with people, then you go to toys, and then you go to animals, then you go to cars, then you go to monsters.
But I don't get how
monsters are animals is the idea.
Well, the monsters come after
into anything. Also, the Incredibles is the only one where there isn't a Pizza Planet truck.
Seems like one of the ones where that you would expect it. It's like the 1950s.
They wanted
that's prime time for a space age pizza restaurant. I guess it's a little early.
I think it was in a deleted scene. It was hidden in traffic, but the scene got deleted and they didn't add it back in anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's just not connected. But yeah,
I don't know.
Incredibles 2.
Regardless,
coming out in a couple years. I'm hyped.
Incredibles, not my favorite Pixar movie, but I get that a lot of people love it.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, I get why a lot of people love it, but it's not my favorite.
Fantastic Four. It's so good.
So Black Mirror. I feel like there's a lot we can say about like
there's a lot we
the political and social commentary about this episode. But I don't know if I'm smart enough to say things about it. So
that's very accurate. Let's move on.
I felt like Men Against Fire was like you could draw a very clear link from like that sort of like that sort of world to the world of 15 Million Merits.
Potentially.
Okay, here's what I want to say about Men Against Fire. This was not my favorite episode, and I'm not saying that in a way like, oh, I don't like this food, right? I'm just saying it wasn't my favorite, but it was an extremely good example of taking a concept and fleshing it out and making it enjoyable. Like, I thoroughly, really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. So this is something I said like right after I saw it. I don't think this is my favorite episode at all, but I think it's one of my favorite like messages and ideas that they're giving.
Exactly. It's not like my favorite episode,
but it's definitely a really good thing that they're fleshing.
Solid.
Yeah.
It's like it's a silver medal.
That's gonna become an emoji soon.
Oh really? I did not know about that.
The second and third place medal emoji.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know you do. Alright, now I'm gonna be a little honest about this last episode.
Hated
I fell asleep during it.
It was.
Did you guys really hate it that much?
No, it was kind of slow and really boring.
I understand where you say it's slow.
I just had to. I was able to stay awake, but I had to constantly like wake my friend up, like, "Hey, Fred, wake up, Fred," like shaking him. He's like, "What?"
Of all the episodes to be featured, like
that shouldn't have been it. Like we were just sitting there, and it felt like it reminded me watching this episode. It reminded me of watching God, I'm so bad at the episode names. What's the first one? The first
National Anthem.
National Anthem. Remind me of that one. Watching that one the first time, where we were all kind of just like disinterested. And,
I can feel that, and I think some of that is the pacing. I think this one kind of
the pacing. It was really drawn out. It was really slow. Like the concept was interesting, but it was also something where we were kind of just like it felt like it was. God, it was just really weird. It was super over the top. It was like,
I don't think it was as over the top as you're thinking it is.
I know, and I'm sure if I watched it again, I would see it in a different light. But it was just weird because it was like, you just have this one guy controlling a population.
I feel like that's feasible.
Robotic bees.
Yeah. They don't. Okay, so the way those bees work, they don't work.
And like
he's not literally controlling all of them. He's giving them a target, and their AI is.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. It was just
like they still have individual, and you can see that like they're individually doing things.
Yeah, like, and I can totally get this as a Black Mirror episode. Like, this was a good Black Mirror episode, but
was it a good Black Mirror episode? Like,
yes, it was.
I think it was good.
It was a solid Black Mirror episode.
I thought
it's just
It's easily the most boring Black Mirror episode that there is.
That's a pacing problem.
I feel.
I mean, but that's still a problem nonetheless. Like they could have made it a lot faster.
Like this episode is also one of the most fundamentally flawed episodes, especially of season 3. Like in season 3, we had our grievances with a few episodes, but we were able to like come up with a couple ideas in like one or two small ways to fix them, especially like playtest and Shut Up and Dance.
Those are the main ones where just like a couple small things could have made it so much better. But with this one,
I think Shut Up and Dance is pretty good.
But with this one, it's not something where you can just say, "Oh, if they just did this, it would have been more enjoyable."
That's fair.
Yeah.
This one's like, this isn't something I can't really give any input either. But it's just like it was.
I feel like they missed a great opportunity. So this is the featured length episode, right? And
especially coming off of
I don't think
Christmas.
Okay. So you're like touting it as the feature length episode. I think it's just like how long that episode ended up. They don't have time limits, they don't have time restrictions. It's Netflix. They do what they want.
But what I'm
it
trying
just
to say
happened
is,
to be the long
so
one.
For one, they were kind of hyping up the fact that they had a feature-length episode.
Were they?
But anyway,
I didn't see that.
But as I was saying, this was the feature-length episode of the season. I feel like they missed a great opportunity if they really wanted to make this like a good mystery and a good like noir type story.
Yeah.
For one, it shouldn't have been just a random guy. But also, White Christmas did a good job of introducing all these concepts and kind of modifying other concepts from other episodes and like other technologies. I think if they would have introduced a few new concepts and maybe a couple old concepts, and then either have people die from multiple different ways or just like one and like, oh, maybe it's one of these technologies. Like they had a great opportunity to do that.
I think
you don't want them to copy.
Or they could have went way into the bees and like made it like maybe made it about a worker at the place as this was going on, and not directly about like the investigation, like the official one, but like this guy like starts to discover what's going on.
You're being way too negative.
We're having a discussion.
Way too negative. I think
my issue with it is that it was way too obvious from like the first like 2 seconds. Like, oh, this is a mystery. Somehow people are getting killed with these bees. It's the only technology they talked about. They're not going to just bring this up to drop it.
That's clear.
Maybe if the bees were in another episode, then you could have passed it off like, oh, it was a reference to that episode.
I don't think that was part. I don't think that was supposed to be non-obvious.
Yeah, but like
it was intended to be.
What's the point of making it a mystery? Like, you know what's happening. The twist is insanely obvious once you figure out the guy's motive. It's like, oh, wait, why is he siding with the hate mob when he was clearly against the hate mob? Oh, wait, he's logging everyone and is going to kill them. Like, that...
Yeah, I would have liked to see more with the bees, like, more build-up with them, you know? Because they kind of tell you at the beginning, but I would have enjoyed more of a thing and just seeing them work, seeing them do their thing, and then suddenly they turn...
Because... the problem I had with this episode is they spent way too long introducing the bees concept.
That's also fair. It can go either way.
Like, that's my major problem. Because I was on board with the bees concept fairly early on. Mm-hmm. And, like, I caught on to it, like really early just because, one, I have subtitles on, so I can, like, read what the news report's saying.
Yeah.
And two, like, I'm technically aware and understand how these like hive mind things come up. So I feel like you probably did need at least a little exposition for the bees, but I feel like there was far too much exposition for the bees. And I feel like explaining the mystery, even if there were parts that were obvious, wasn't as big of a problem as the amount of exposition that they had for the bees, which made it slow to start and made you less motivated to keep watching.
Mm-hmm. I think they spent a lot of time on things that weren't interesting. Like, they spent a lot of time on just, like, they're standing around in the office and they're just kind of, like, talking, which is fine, but it's also, like, it just wasn't captivating. It doesn't have to be an action movie, but...
So, like, my main issue with it was so predictable, but it acted like it wasn't. Like, okay, maybe the bees were supposed to be a bit predictable, but then, like, even after it was, like, after they talked to the teacher, I thought it was pretty clear, like, oh, it's going to use facial recognition. Mm-hmm. Like, because that makes sense, because we were, like, obviously they had to be aware of, like, flowers and stuff, and I think after that is... like,
it's more than just facial.
They touched on that real quick about like with how they can see the flowers, and I totally got it like right away.
But like, there's more than just facial recognition too. There's like isn't there like location recognition?
No, the location was a different thing that they had, and that was just
because like the bees were going to that person's house when she was like
that was like based off their
in lockdown.
Like,
yeah, it was the unique ID, like the thing.
Yeah, the what's it called? The IMEI number.
Yeah.
Which is a real number. Which that's a real thing.
Like they didn't really make it clear that was actually like a.
No, they made that clear. They talked about the IDs for.
And like she's like in the bathroom. No bees getting through the bathroom yet, and they're still going for it.
Get through the bathroom.
Right, and then they get through the bathroom. But like before any bee gets through the bathroom, they're still going for the bathroom, which tells me that it's more than facial recognition, which is because of that IMEI thing. Yeah, which I don't think you can actually track location through just IMEI numbers. I mean, my guess is the carrier might be able to do that. The carriers might be able to do that. I don't know what they have on me, but
there's just so much I think they could have done better about this episode.
Yeah, this is the one where I definitely have the most.
And like
connotation too.
And if they wanted to do it, I think it could have been a lot shorter. Like I get what you were saying, Mingo, earlier when you were like, "Oh, it just goes as long as it goes." But this one felt very stretched out, and that makes me think that it was purposely like, okay, this is gonna be the feature length one, not
because like when you are on a network like Netflix, whatever, it's a network. When you're on like something like that where there's no time limit, you just stop worrying about it. And when you stop worrying about it, sometimes you get things that are longer than you need them to be.
Yeah, I could tell that each episode was just as long as they wanted them to be.
And when you don't have to worry about it, sometimes that is when you end up with things that are stretched out because they don't have to hit a time limit.
Mm-hmm.
So they just keep going. So I can see that.
Also, the ending. Okay. The twist, oh, she wasn't dead, even though it was super obvious that she wouldn't have been. But, like, also, I did like that she came from the White Bear case and that the lady from White Bear was near the top of that list. But the whole, like, Silence of the Lambs ending where
when they play the song and the guy's just like walking out, like he's shaved, like he just, oh my god, I'm like, are you really doing this? And I'm like, I'm not necessarily saying it's bad.
Also,
I'm just like, really?
Why didn't they cover their faces?
Because their IMEI numbers are tracking them location.
Yeah, but the bees still wouldn't know who to attack if they wore a mask or anything.
This is a television show.
Like, well, no, it's part of the thing. Like, it's facial recognition.
Is part of it.
There's
more than one factor.
The Prime Minister, like, they definitely knew that by like the time the day with the Prime Minister rolled around. I think it was the 4th day, right?
I mean, they're also going to be the only person wearing a mask. So
yeah, but that would require
people aren't that precautious to make everybody wear a mask. That's not how people work.
Okay, I'm not saying everybody wear a mask, but I'm saying why wasn't the Prime Minister at least wearing a mask?
Because if he was wearing a mask, he'd be the only one wearing a mask, and it would therefore be obvious.
Because they're not.
If you have one person wearing a mask to block the facial recognition,
though, like it.
Okay, so
it's automated. It's not like the person is sitting there at the computer and being like, "Oh, it's the one person with the mask." They could have at least taken that fucking precaution.
When it's at that point, it was one person a day. Okay, so the person at the computer could have been like there at the time paying attention, for one. 2, when there's one person wearing a mask and the IMEI is still showing that location, like you're gonna be like, it's not gonna be hard to deduce. Like,
so just don't take that precaution at all when the freaking Prime Minister's life's in danger. Okay,
no, they would all.
Okay, that makes complete sense, Mango. That doesn't sound like a stretch at all.
There's more than just facial recognition. I'm saying what will realistically happen. What would realistically happen?
Well, I mean, then why wouldn't the bees, like, when they were stuck in the bathroom, why wouldn't they just kill everybody in there because they're all within proximity?
Well, you know,
No, I don't. You know.
But like,
So then wear a person mask then.
Is it like spy?
Like the cameras aren't that good, remember? They're only good at like pattern recognition.
yeah, but remember they were spying on people with them.
Yeah, but they were using facial recognition from like patterns, right? Like from the pattern recognition that was already built in.
My assumption was that the cameras are better than they let them on. They let people on to be.
B.
Yeah. Like in their normal work, they are just kind of like pattern recognition, but the cameras are also like better than they're letting on.
Yeah, but even then, like you would think someone would at least take that precaution with the prime minister. Like it just seems so stupid to me that they didn't even think of that. Or they could have easily said something like, "Oh well, if he's wearing a mask, then like then if the person's at like they could have at least brought it up. They could have hung the lampshade, as it were. Like they could have done something other than just never bring up this glaring flaw."
I think you're overanalyzing.
I'm not overanalyzing. I'm just taking the stuff that we were told. Is that not what this entire discussion was supposed to be about? Analyze the show?
We're having a discussion about it, and just blocking off any sort of discussion isn't good for a discussion.
But okay, let's move on.
The ending sucked.
So that's the end of the season. There's 6 more episodes coming sometime next year.
Yep.
Are you excited? Or for more depressing television?
Yep.
So what would you rate this season?
5 stars.